Hope everybody get the presentation on their screen. Yeah, sir, please.
Good morning, everybody. It is very nice of the Vice Chancellor, Kamdev University, as well as our young professors, Professor Smith Lemde, to have thought of including this topic and to have remembered me to be discussing this particular topic. So, whatever is the main agenda as far as the biological aspects of any fisheries enterprise is concerned, uh, unless we have an appraisal of the ways and means by which you can raise funds for starting an enterprise, or the ways and means of supplementing funds for an existing enterprise, our knowledge will be basically a theoretical one. So therefore, I find that this is a very interesting and very important initiative taken by the Kamdenu University to have taken this topic and introduced it along with the course which has been focused towards creation of ornapreneurs, that is for ornamental fisheries. Next, please.
Yeah, sir.
Yeah. So therefore, the thing is, when I was engaged in taking training programs for the programs which is funded by the NFDB in the three fisheries colleges, that is in Nellore, in Tamil Nadu, in Madhavaram campus, as well as in the Annamala University. I was just discussing the same kind, this topic with the slight variations, of course. And there I found that most of the people who were actually graduates, so they were all graduates, not necessarily fisheries graduates, but they were graduates, and they had practically no information with respect to the kind of finances that could be raised for developing a business. So when I asked them, uh, what funding do you think that you want to do for the enterprise that you have spoken about? They were asked to give their opinion about what enterprise they want to start, and each one of them gave a particular enterprise. Some of them said that I want to go into shrimp farming. Some of them wanted to go into mussel culture. Some of them wanted to go into ornamental fisheries, and so on and so forth. But they did not actually know how to go about it. They said that we have some money and we would be able to get some funds from our family and friends, and then we will start the enterprise. So therefore, what I would like to tell our audience here, especially the young people who are listening to this lecture, that it is very important for you not only to choose a particular enterprise, and before you start investing money in it, it is very important for you to know the extent of the market. How much of the market is there for you to sell into? Unless you produce a product which is actually have commanding a good market, there is nothing much that you can do about it, because you need to become a businessman, and for that you need to have a lot of knowledge with respect to your own subject and also with respect to how the market will behave. So the response of the market determines the kind of turnover that you will be able to generate and the kind of finances that you will require to see that that particular turnover is achievable. So therefore, we must see the kind of finances, we must see we must have a thorough knowledge of the enterprise, and we must also have a complete knowledge of the market. That's very important. Another point which I discovered when I was talking to these young graduates during these training programs is that they do not have the habit of reading newspaper. This is one very important factor that I would like to emphasize to our young friends here who are attending this lecture, that it is very important for you to read newspapers. If it is possible, it will be better. if you make yourself comfortable reading a business newspaper, such as Economic Times or Business Line or Financial Express, Business Standard, these are some of the papers. There may be papers, business papers in local vernacular language also. Even that is okay, so long as you get to know the kind of business language that is there in those papers, isn't it? So when you go to a bank and when you discuss with some bank manager, he will come out with so much of terminologies, which you are not familiar with, isn't it? So therefore, it's very important that you familiarize with the terminologies, and this kind of familiarization will come through only by reading business newspapers. It is not necessary that most of you are biologists, I think, from the profile which I saw on the email which was sent by Professor Linde. I saw that most of you are biologists. So biologists generally do not understand the working of a financial market. But many of you want to enter the ornamental fisheries business. So therefore, the first thing that I would advise you to do is to read regularly a business newspaper. So that is the first thing. You please make a point of it. Okay. Please note down, all those young people who are attending this lecture, please make it a point. From tomorrow, you will start reading a business newspaper. So that is very important. So when you start a project or start an enterprise, one of the most important things that you will have to face is how to mobilize money. So earlier times, there was no concept of people coming forward and offering you money to help you with your business. Now such kind of funding opportunities are there. There is a difference between the concept of funding opportunities and financing enterprises. Funding opportunity people are generally people who are aware of the business in which you are trying to put money into. You are trying to enter a business. You are very good at it. And these people who are having the money know what is fisheries, know what is ornamental fisheries. They want to help you with this kind of a funding. So these people can be called as funders, which is different from financing. Okay. So these are the two things. Who are the financiers? The financiers are those people who are actually doing commercial lending. They do not know the intricacies of the ornamental fish business or aquaculture business or the fisheries business. What they know is that this project proposal which has been put up to them, in front of them, the proposal is good, and that the internal rate of return and the net present value, these are some of the main parameters, So these parameters, these terminologies are very important. So before you start a business, read business newspapers, get yourself a good idea about the kind of terminologies that these people use in banks, and then start approaching a bank with your proposal. Okay. Now, for the first instance, when you start thinking about a business, it is very important to know what kind of funds that you are going to use. The first thing that will come to your mind, especially when you are a graduate and you are not inclined to go towards a regular service kind of employment, or you do not want to get into kind of private sector employment, but want to become self-employed, naturally you will have to enter the business. So when you want to enter the business, and if you are a fisheries graduate or a person having full knowledge about ornamental fisheries, it is quite possible that the first thing that you would like to do to use your own personal savings. The personal savings are available with you in your bank. So naturally, if your project is costing around 50,000 rupees or a lakh of rupees or 2 lakhs of rupees, you will be very much tempted to use your own funds. So therefore, Generally, young people enter into business by using their own funds. But whether it is correct, whether it is wise to use your own personal funds is something that you will learn in due process of time as your business progresses. You will see that there are plenty of other ways in which you can raise your finance other than using your own personal savings. So therefore, you start off with personal savings. Personal savings has an advantage, as I have given you in the slide, that you are in complete control of the money which you are handling. And you can make the kind of investments that you want to make. So therefore, personal savings gives you that kind of a command over the resources, and you can stick to the kind of targets that you want to achieve. But if at all, if it happens that something happens like for instance, now what has happened to our aquaculture, even though our aquaculture is doing so well, we have been able to achieve about $7 billion of exports. Now we are having a setback, is it not? Now the offtake of our aquaculture is not as expected. We may not be able to reach the $10 billion target. So these are some of the impediments that we may come across. So therefore, we must be mentally prepared to take care of such kind of losses. But losing your own money is a great difficulty. That is where lies the difficulty of using your own personal savings. Next, please. The next source of funding, see, when you enter a business, you have your personal funding, you will be having about 10 lakhs of rupees, and the project may be costing about 50 lakhs of rupees. Okay. So naturally, the entire money will not be coming from you. So you must raise the other 40 lakhs of rupees from somewhere else also. So therefore, you must raise this 40 lakhs of rupees urgently. So who are the people who are likely to help you? Who are the people who are likely to help you? It is only your family and friends. So these people who have complete faith in you, because you are part of the family, they will lend to you, and they will expect that the money which they are giving you is being put to the best use. So that is the kind of relationship that happens, and based on trust, it is possible to make the best use of the money and forge ahead with the business. We have talked about personal savings. We have also talked about family and friends, the funds which can be raised from family and friends. These kind of funds are called as non-institutional funds. That is, funds which are not coming from institutionalized financial markets. What do you mean by institutionalized financial markets? The institution of the financial market in India, we have the Reserve Bank of India at the apex, at the top. And parallel to that, we have the Finance Ministry, Ministry of Finance. So therefore, these two institutions look after the financial market of India. Under the Reserve Bank, we have the structure of the banking system, we have the commercial banks, we have the RRBs, we have the cooperative banks, we have the post office banks, so many things we are having. So these kind of banks, which are governed by rules and regulations of the Reserve Bank of India, can be classified as institutional finance. The other, like family and friends, using of personal savings, taking money from money lenders, they are non-institutional finance. So these are the things that we have to keep in mind. Non-financial institutions are not completely reliable. Institutional finance are reliable, but they are time-consuming and need a lot of documentation. So that is essentially the difference between institutional and non-institutional finance. Next, please. See, now we have seen several of these, all of you are in Facebook. All of you are in LinkedIn. All of you are in several other social media, right? So when you have seen that people are falling sick, they are not having money with them. So what do? So when they have this bright idea that they will seek funds from the people who are their friends on the Facebook. You may not be knowing the person personally, directly, but you know that there is a possibility, and other people have also done this. They will say that my so-and-so is not well and he's hospitalized and I do not have the money and therefore I need the money and all that. This is called, this process of raising money from through social networks is called as crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is a big thing now because there are several successful ventures which have come up, and not only that, they are also getting supplementary funds. So the enterprises which get supplementary funds or enterprises which are even started, initiated on the basis of crowdfunding is a very important aspect of the financial market of India and the world. So therefore, these things count a lot. If you have friends, 2-3 friends together, you can join together, make a proposal, put it on the social networks and see the response. And it also depends upon how you market your proposal. You have to market your proposal. That is very important. If you market your proposal properly, there is a very good chance that the people on the social network will respond. And you could raise funds for the benefit of your business in due course of time. Next, please. Now you know our Ratan Tata Sahab. Now Ratan Tata Sahab is one of the most patriotic, most nationalistic, and most sought after and respected business person, or you should say industrialist. He uses the word industrialist, not business person. So he has an eye on the various lines of business that is going on in the country and the world. He has an eye on various businesses. So as the chief of the Tata Group of companies, he has an inclination towards those youngsters who are coming up with bright ideas through their startups. So when they come up with the bright idea of startups, I don't know how many of you have read this news that Mr. Ratan Tata has, to a large extent, is now part financing a pharmaceutical startup of an 18-year-old boy. He has come out with a bright plan with an app. He's able to, he wants to market his general medicines for the benefit of the poor people. So therefore, Ratan Tata, being one of the most philanthropic persons in India and the world, is the most likely person. Immediately he saw the goodness of this particular business, the goodness of the business. So he has promised to a certain extent he is going to support this kind of a enterprise. Now, what kind of financing is this? This kind of financing is called as angel investing. Angel investing. Just like an angel, Mr. Ratan Tata has come on the scene of this 18-year-old boy. He was fighting, he was looking for funds. But because Ratan Tata saw the goodness of his project in distributing generic medicines to the people of the country, he immediately decided to part fund his business. So therefore, he's an angel. So angel funders or angel investors are those people who can spot good business. They can spot good business. So therefore, your ornamental fisheries proposal must be strong enough to attract angel investors. Some of the people like, Ratan Tata, they are more philanthropic in attitude. Like some of our business people like Ambani Group, they are towards making profits. Now we have several companies which are being, taken over by Chinese investments, foreign direct investments. So many companies are there. Now we are seeing so many things on our, social media that do not use Zoom, do not use, TikTok and all that. So those are some of the countries we should not patronize. The government now says that we should go for local products. So therefore, such kind of angel investors play a very important role. So these kind of angel investors could be a part of the scheme of investing in ornamental fish business that you want to start. Next, please. Venture capitalists. Venture capitalists, see, actually, how do you identify venture capitalists? Or venture capitalists are not like angel investors. Angel investors are always on the lookout for good business. Okay, they're always on the lookout for good business. They know if the kind of business which is being promoted by a startup is something which is actually going to help the nation, they will definitely do it, right? But it is not like the venture capitalists who have money and who are wanting to invest that money purely for commercial purposes. So therefore, who is a via media? In this via media business, we have got several of these agri-business incubation centers in many of our universities, in agriculture university, in fisheries universities, in veterinary and animal husbandry universities. We have got this agri-business incubation units. So these agri-business incubation units invite proposal from young people like you to submit proposals for funding. And then at NAM, when I was at NAM, we used to get several of such kind of funding proposals. And it is not possible for us to fund everything. Okay, we will screen it properly and take few of them and then give them assistance and help them to and groom them to become good business people. In the process of grooming them to become good business people, there are venture capitalists. These venture capitalists are in touch with us at NAM Agri-Business Incubation Unit, at NAM Hyderabad Agri-Business Incubation Unit, or at CMFRI, or at SIBA, or even at SIFRI Barrackpur. There are agri-business or fish business incubation units who are in touch with venture capitalists. Once we say that this proposal is good for funding, the venture capitalists generally do not have second thoughts. They will immediately try to take up that project, invest in them, and try to help the young entrepreneurs. So it depends entirely upon your enthusiasm, entirely depends upon the strength of your proposal, the kind of cash flows that you can generate from your own new business, that the business is going to flourish. Whether it is going to be a self-help group sponsored ornamental fish production units. Few of you may have seen the Sindhudurg and Ratnagiri units where they produce ornamental fishes on a mass scale. Okay, so we were also involved in that this thing. When I was at CIFE, along with MPDA has got several schemes. And one of the schemes was that we should go to the places where the production happens and try to create farmer-producer organization, FPOs. So these FPOs are a very new concept. It is not a new concept, of course, but now it is getting a lot of importance. Because now, for the purpose of doubling farmers' income, Dr. Ashok Dalwai, who is the chairman of this Doubling Farmers' Income Committee, I am again repeating, this question may come for your MSc or PhD entrance examination. Who is the chairman of the Doubling Farmers' Income Committee? Dr. Ashok Dalwai, IAS. Okay. So therefore, this person has come out with this idea by the end of this financial year, that is March 21. We must have 500 FPOs in fisheries. Now, from where this 500 FPOs is going to come? Fortunately, yesterday, in the third tranche announced by our Finance Minister, Nirmala Sitharaman ji, she has announced that 11,000 crores is going to be entirely devoted for the production-oriented work of fisheries sector. And 9,000 crores is going to be devoted towards creation of infrastructure of fisheries. So 20,000 crores is being released by the government. And with this 20,000, it is up to you young people to start enterprises, maybe create FPOs and generate business. Now is the best time for you to become an entrepreneur, to become an entrepreneur. as is the theme of this particular MOOC. So therefore, such kind of possibility. 500 FPOs are going to be supported by the government. 11,000 crores are available for the fisheries sector in the third tranche of Atmanirbhar scheme of the Prime Minister. So you can see the kind of potential that we have for you young people to start your fish business, whatever line of business that you want to start. So money is plenty. Now, the question is, how is this 11,000 crores and how is the 9,000 crores going to reach the hands of the people? The funds of the government used for the agricultural and allied sectors is mostly handled by National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development. That is called as, earlier it was called as NABARD. All of us know, even now we call it as NABARD. But now there is a small change, you know. Now they are calling it as National Bank. They don't want to call themselves as NABARD. They want to call them as National Bank. So NABARD will handle most of this money, and most of this money for training programs and other things may be handled by the NFDB. The export segment may be handled by the MPDA. Several of such proposals will be up on their websites, and it is up to you and your initiative to start any kind of projects which may be very attractive for the sector. Okay. Now, venture capitalists are those capitalists who are funding the startup companies which is being promoted by the agri-business incubation centers. So that is what you must remember. First, you write a proposal, go to your university, ask them where we can submit this proposal. Suppose if you are having an agri-business incubation unit, you go and meet the boss of the agri-business incubation unit head, give him the proposal and ask him, sir, I would like to have, make a presentation for you. You make a presentation, and it is the responsibility of the head to get venture capitalists to support your enterprise. So that is how it works. Okay, so that is called as venture capital. But venture capitalists are always after a profit because they are only investors. They really do not know anything about ornamental fish business, and they do not bother also. They want high returns on their investment. It must be as good as some 30% returns, 25% returns. An opportunity cost of the investment that they would be getting had they not invested in your business. If they had not invested in your business, how much of returns they would get from another enterprise? That is the maximum limit or the minimum limit of profit that they will expect from your startup. Next one, please. And we have the typical bank loans are available. The bank loans are the most important and the safest way of getting loans. And several of the loan schemes have been announced by the government. Under the Mudra loans, we have several schemes. I will come to that if the time permits. And bank loans are very attractive for the young entrepreneurs. The interest rates also vary with respect to the kind of enterprise that you want to launch, the area where you want to launch. It may be in cess zones. All these things are taken into consideration. So where exactly you want to take a loan, you may think that going to a bank and trying to explain to the bank manager is a very difficult thing and all that. No, it is not. It is actually a very preconceived notion. You are already having a notion that going to a bank, instead of that, let me ask my friends, or even I will try to go to a chartered accountant and start a company, a private limited company, directly. So such kind of things will come to your mind. But it is best that you first approach bank managers, because bank managers have got a wide experience of having handled several hundreds of projects. Various projects, not only your ornamental fisheries, but they have handled several projects with agriculture, veterinary, animal husbandry, MSME. MSME is a very big thing now. Minor, small, medium enterprises. So there are several MSMEs which have suffered because of this COVID and because of this ban on people moving around. So they are also going to be benefited a lot through this tranche which has been announced by the finance minister. So therefore, very good to try from banks. Of course, there are certain disadvantages that it's slightly time consuming, but they do not have any kind of personal hold on your business. So business is yours, profit is yours, and the faster that you repay and the more regular that you are in making your repayment, you will be able to raise more loans. Okay, next please. Now this is a very important thing, government themselves are trying to identify areas in which young people can invest. They are called as small administration loans, and they assist small businesses to succeed. So SBAs help small businesses get capital. Capital means credit as well as equipment. By definition in economics, we cannot go into those things now because there is hardly any time. So capital means credit as well as equipment. Okay, and ensures that a certain percentage of the contracts are awarded to small businesses. So we have this, portal. The government portal is there now. Now, whenever you want to buy anything, it is not necessary for you to go to the lowest quotation like this thing. The government portal is there, wherein they are obliged to take quotations from anywhere in the country and help you to get whatever you want. So those kind of things are available, and this is being administered by Small Business Administration Loans. Now, I would like you to, when the PowerPoint comes to your hand, I would like you to read through this kind of opportunity and try to make a best use of the same. Next, please. Now, this is the revised definition of the MSME. Now, earlier definition used to define MSME with respect to manufacturing enterprises and service enterprises. And you can see that with respect to the investments, there is some limits with respect to small, micro, small, and medium. Now, with respect to the MSME classification, revision has happened. With this new approach of delivering money to the end stakeholders. Now, the classification of micro, small, and medium is based on any enterprise whose investment is less than 1 crore and whose turnover is less than 5 crore is classified as micro, right? The second section of the table, you please see that. As far as the small manufacturing and services is concerned, if the investment is less than 10 crores and if the turnover is less than 50 crores, it is classified as a small enterprise. And the medium enterprise has an investment less than 20 crores and the turnover is less than 100 crores. So these people are the people who will be able to get loans. And what are these MSMEs with respect to aquaculture or ornamental fisheries? We have got to see aquaculture is not just the fishes which we breed and we culture and we sell off. So it is so many kind of additional equipment and additional infrastructure are required in order for promoting a particular business. So these businesses are not done by the single person; they are done by several people. So when you have a division of labor and when you have a division of the enterprise across various sections of the population, various people are involved in it. So these people can be classified into MSMEs. And you take, for instance, aquaculture. Who are the people who are handling the maintenance of your aerators? Who are the people who are handling the maintenance of your pumps? So they're all small people. They're not very big people whose turnover may be less than even 10 lakhs a year. So those people have to survive. So those people are the support people who actually have a great role to play in the success of your business. So those people have to be helped so that you can succeed. So that is very important. Now, even in today's paper, you can see that the government has thought of the labor class people who are trying to get back to their native places. Isn't it? They are also people. They also want to go save themselves. Their lives are also very important. So they want to go from the place where they are working in distant places and they are walking and all that. I have nothing against the government or anything, but we should have thought of that much earlier. If we can think of our people living in USA and Europe and Middle East and in the Far East, we should also think of our own people working in various parts of our country. We should have made some kind of a provision, right? So those people are very important. Now the harvest season is there. The people are not there. Labor is scarce. Now the people. Now we are thinking of helping the people get back to work, helping the people go back to their places, and all that kind of a confusion is there. So that kind of a confusion could have been avoided. Next, please. This is a very important. This is a very important segment. The Kisan credit card is nothing but a simple credit card. Young people don't get afraid. It is just a credit card. My credit card has a upper. I have not extended it. It has an upper limit of 1.75 lakhs. So similarly, each credit card has an upper. Kisan credit card has an upper limit of 3 lakhs. So it is just like the regular credit card only. Only thing is that the Kisan credit card is used by the fishers, by the fish farmers, by the agricultural people to buy inputs. You cannot just go and do anything with it. You have to use it only for agricultural production purposes. So therefore, such kind of activity also, the new tranche of finance which has been released by the government is being used extensively. Next, please. Can we skip all this? Please skip. Yeah. So those slides which are skipped is something you can read and understand, because there is less time, hardly 5 minutes more. So therefore, I would request you to concentrate on the different types of loans which are available. As a budding entrepreneurs, you would like to know the various types of loans which are available for what purpose and at what rate of interest. So these things are very important. So we have different types of loans available from different financial institutions. Some of them are institutional finance, some of them are most of them are institutional finance, and they are obliged to give working capital loans. Working capital loans are nothing but operating loans. Day-to-day work के लिए तो पैसा चाहिए ना. So उसके लिए भी तो पैसा चाहिए. So the working capital loans is also given by the commercial banks, the commercial institutional financial institutions. So the rate of interest may be between 12 and 16%, and working capital loans are generally around 25 lakhs. And for various purposes, different types of working capital arrangements are available. And as budding entrepreneurs, I'm sure that you will be able to discover, but it is very important to know the terminology. I will tell you, out of the 90 people, 101 people who are attending this session, I will say that even if 50 people or few are serious, you please understand your subject thoroughly, inside out, and then also understand the way the financial market of the country works. And you can train your mind for becoming an entrepreneur only by reading business newspapers. Okay? Make it a habit. From tomorrow onwards, you read Economic Times. It may be a little difficult, but it is a very important part of the growing up, stages of becoming an entrepreneur. That's very important. Term loans are long-term loans, and they have got a different kind of setup. Next, please. Then equipment financing. There are various types of equipment financing is there. For your ornamental fish business also, equipment will be very important. And pond construction ke liye hai, and even IT and office equipments, they are also giving equipment financing and manufacturing equipment loans. All these types of different loans are available. Invoice financing. Invoice financing is also very important. Suppose you are in Ratnagiri or in Sindhudurg, where we have done some work in ornamental fisheries. you know what is happening. So actually, the goods may be delivered to the person in the Bombay market. So when the goods are delivered in the Bombay market, the money is not coming to the hand of the producer. Okay. So what happens? He will produce an invoice. Invoice is nothing but a bill. Okay. Now with this bill, he can go to the bank and tell that, sir, I have sold this much of quantity of my goldfish and moli and all that, and this is the money which is due from my customer. But I have to start my production immediately for the next round, next cycle. So I need the money. But this man says that he will give it to them. There is no problem. There is a guarantee letter and all that. Koi problem nahi. Now immediately your bank will give you a money, advance money against that particular risk. This is called as invoice finance. Okay. Next, please. Mudra loans are very important these days. Mudra loans are available for various purposes. The best part of Mudra loan is that it is a collateral free. Collateral free means security free. Okay. There are 4 types of loans which are available. Shishu loans, which are up to 50,000 rupees. Kishore loans, which are between 50,000 and 5 lakhs. And Tarun loans, which are up to 10 lakhs. Now, after finishing this course, and when you get a certificate, it is quite possible. I am not sure whether a 4-day certificate is enough, but a 21-day certificate is definitely valid, because when I was handling the class for the Nellore Fisheries College and Madhavaram College and the Annamalai University, a couple of boys were there who are interested to start a business. So therefore, this certificate was very important. So with this certificate, you can make a proposal and go to the bank and ask for a loan. So that kind of a thing is there. So that is something which you must think of. So public sector banks have been the major channels, but very important. One thing I will tell you, when you take such kind of collateral free loans, you don't think that the government is just giving you money just like that. Every loan is Aadhaar linked. Every loan is Aadhaar linked. So once you give your Aadhaar link for getting this 50,000 rupees, and if you don't repay, naturally that is the end of it. You will not be able to get loan anymore from any bank throughout your life. So please be very careful. So that is a very important thing that you must observe. Next, please. Stand-up loans. So stand-up India loans are very important. So, Professor Lende, how much time I have?
No, sir, you take your own time, sir.
Acha, theek hai.
Because actually we started session too late, sir. You take your time, sir.
Acha, theek hai.
Not an issue.
Okay. So this stand-up India loan is also very important. This stand-up India loan, you know, it is focused towards certain groups of our communities, economically and socially backward communities, and they are specifically directed to uplift them. So what does this scheme say? This scheme is targeted at entrepreneurs of the SC, ST and women borrowers. So women entrepreneurs are also being encouraged by the government. So women entrepreneurs are very important, and they have already started operations. In case of non-individual enterprises, at least 51%. If they are non-enterprises, non-individual, that is, if it's a partnership, you know, it need not be always a single person. It can be 2-3 persons, you know. First stage is an individual, and then the partnership, then the private, then the public limited company. That also I will explain if time is there. So therefore, at least 51% of the shareholding or controlling stake should be held by these people, you know. So that's very important. I have given you the diagram. So kindly go through that and the kind of ecosystem that the stand-up loans are available to certain sections of our community. So please look at that. Next, please. This is the list here. This is the list of assistance which is available for commercial banks, and they are available for agri-clinics, they are available for agri-businesses and agricultural marketing, contract farming, farm mechanization, farmers clubs, drip irrigation, dairy finance, fish farming, and government sponsored. See, actually, fish farming, I don't know, every time it comes towards the end of the list. So we must prove that we are also Ambani we must also become Dhirubhai Ambani in fisheries. That is the only way we can bring our fisheries sector right on top. So even though our contribution, very consistent. How much is the agriculture growth rate this year? Agriculture growth rate is still very high. Surprisingly, Dr. Ramesh Chand, who is the Niti Ayog member agriculture, he has said that we are registering 3% growth. So that is fantastic. Even when the country is just managing to keep a positive growth rate, positive, leave alone 5%, leave alone 7%, just positive growth rate, agriculture is performing so well and it is giving us as much as 3% growth. Next, please. Now this is something which is the latest thing. The government has plans to bring 2.5 crore additional farmers under the Kisan credit card. Now we discussed Kisan credit card. Now 2.5 crore additional farmers are being brought under the Tranche 2 of Atmanirbhar. Okay. So the kind of expansion that is possible for the farmers to develop agriculture is really fantastic. We can do a research study on that. The expanded list of KCC will include fishers. It will also include fishers. The fishers also are being given importance, as well as animal husbandry farmers. Now, under the KCC, loan is available at 7%, and the actual effective rate is around 4%. After the subvention, the interest subvention is there. Because of that, the actual effective rate becomes 4%. Next, please. Now, this amount will be front-loaded and will provide on-tap facility to the money which is available and made available to the KCC is going to be made available to the concerned stakeholders through state cooperative banks, district cooperative banks, rural banks. RRB, sorry. This facility is expected to help around 3 crore farmers to meet post-harvest and current kharif harvest. Okay. Now, I was just telling you about the third tranche, which has actually come last night only. This had come, so I just introduced a line in my presentation. So, PM's Atmanirbhar scheme has introduced 20,000 crores for fisheries through Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana. So this is a very important, and young people who are watching this must take this opportunity. And see, life is not like, unless you become a professor, you will have a standing. You make very good business, you provide employment for other people, you generate good business and, living opportunities, livelihood opportunities for others. Then also you will get a very good, life satisfaction. So in my experience, to be frank with you, dealing with students for maybe 30 years, I get this impression that we are all looking for public sector jobs, or government jobs. So therefore, it is not, I don't know whether that is really correct. So those of, many people, one of my students, is now a very good entrepreneur in Gujarat. And he was not good in studies, but I had that, feeling that he is going to become a very good business person. Now I used to encourage him and he has become a very good business person now. So out of the 20,000 crores, 11,000 is being used for production and 9,000 is going to be made use for fish infrastructure development. Next. Now this is the final slide. This is the final slide and this is the most important slide. After getting full knowledge of your own business and how exactly you must organize your own ornamental fisheries business, whatever you do. And in my opinion, young people who are listening to this conversation or this lecture, there is immense scope in post-sales service opportunities in ornamental fisheries. In one of the PhD thesis that I have done with a student who is now an assistant professor in Kamden University, Kavardha, College of Fisheries, Kavardha, we did a wonderful piece of work wherein we discovered that not only in production and sales, but also in post-sales, there are immense opportunities for maintenance. Yesterday, Professor Landel was showing us different kinds of accessories which can be kept inside the aquarium and all that. So those kind of opportunities are there. So if we can manage our finances properly, if we can develop our ideas properly, it will be possible for us to tap those areas which are available and in which there are not much competition, where there is no much competition. So that kind of a thing you must look into. Okay. And for example, I will also tell you that you can contact me on email. My email is available on the first slide of the PPT, and I will be willing to give you all kinds of assistance with respect to the information that you require. So that is possible. Now you see the business plan. What are the things to be done? Now we must have a very clear title page. We must have an executive summary. We have a company description, describe your company's vision and goals and all that. And then we have the products and services. And then we have the marketing plan, right? We have a marketing plan. Unless you know the market, there's no point in production. You must first fix the market. You must first say how much of stock will be available in such and such a month. And will you be able to take it? At what price? Will it? How much of margin I am getting over my cost? All these things you have to calculate and keep. Of course, most of you are from Gujarat. You're all born business people, so you will definitely be able to do a very good job. I know. So operational plan should be there. I mean, the kind of management, whether you are individual, whether you are a partnership, whether you are a private company, and whether it can be developed into a public limited company. All these things must be there in your mind. The concept, the success of Dhirubhai Ambani is that he was willing to take risks. And when he left us, he has left 66,000 crores worth of assets for India. A single man's effort, a single man's mind. No, just imagine the kind of brain that he has. So that is the kind of outlook we must have. And ornamental fisheries is a very good line of work, and many kind of opportunities, many out of the box opportunities are there. Only thing is that you have to use your mind to generate new ideas in the proper way, in the proper direction. The government is now full of enthusiasm to help young entrepreneurs. So that is where the whole thing lies. So therefore, I wish you all success. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Actually, most of the my colleagues also, those who are in session, they are having a small business like Harshvardhan Joshi. He is having one shop there at Mumbai, and many of the entrepreneurs from Rajasthan also they are with us. They hope this presentation is very helpful to them also. Now I request all the participants, if they are having any questions related to this, kindly unmute themselves and ask directly questions to sir. Harshvardhan?
Harsha has questions.
Saurabh Devnath is having one question, sir. Sir, now we are going to focusing on where is that question? 1 minute. Sir, now we are going to focusing on localization, how it will be affect globalization of ornamental fisheries. He is asking the question.
It's a very good question. It's a very good question. See, when I was talking to you about the thesis which I had done, we are always talking about exports. I am not sure why we are so much after exports. See, the ornamental fish business is a seller's market. It is a seller's market. You can produce as much as you want, and if you have a kind of network that is required for selling your produce, you don't have to go after this export market at all. So much of hassles are there. So much of certification, clearances, quarantine, this thing, that thing, all these things can be avoided. You can produce as many thousands of your fishes as you want and then sell them in the domestic market. Let me tell you, you can, if some of you have access to the CIFE library, or sometimes it may be available in Krishi Kosh also. Now they are uploading everything on Krishi Kosh. The theses are available on the Krishi Kosh. So if you can kindly download the thesis which I am talking to you about on ornamental fisheries, which was done in 2014, you will get excellent ideas. There is no need of going after this export business, especially for ornamental fisheries. It is a seller's market as far as domestic ornamental fish business is concerned. There is enough opportunities for young people to produce and sell in India itself. It is only a glamour quotient that you want to export to foreign countries and get associated with foreign people and all that. Actually, as far as money is concerned, the money is more within India than the effort that you have to spend in order to send your goods abroad.
Anyone? Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, please.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, my name is Snigdharani Kanhar. I am from Odisha. Now I am doing master in fishery, fish nutrition department. Sir, I have one question. That sir, I want to start a fish farm after finishing my PG course.
Right.
But sir, in your presentation, you told that there are many kinds of loans, such as working capital loan, equipment financing loan. So sir, if I want to start a fish farm, so shall I take all type of loans from bank for equipment purchasing, for working capital?
No. Actually, if you have already got start, I mean, how much is the area? How much is the land you're having?
That sir, I didn't plan till now. But sir, I just want to start a fish farm.
See, when you want to start a fish farm, there are several criteria which the bank people, which the financial institutions will see. If you are having your own land, then actually it becomes easier. It becomes easier because the title is on your own name. So it is easier for the bank to give you a loan. So if it is a leased land, they may have different other criteria. So basic thing, if you are already having, it is always easier. And it is very important for you to prepare the project proposal. Project proposal prepare करने के लिए आपको 2-3 project proposal पुराने proposals पढ़ना पड़ेगा. That is very important. Our young people are very not so. So what I suggest is you read few proposals and then see how you can write a proposal. Best thing is to get the proposal written by a chartered accountant. A chartered accountant who is actually servicing the branch from where you want to take a loan. A chartered accountant is the best man to write a proposal for a bank loan because he knows what the bank manager is looking for, what the bank regional office is looking for. So try to get a chartered accountant and help him and take his services to write a proposal. Okay?
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Hello, good afternoon, sir.
Yes, sir.
मैं राज नरेश बोल रहा हूँ सर. कोऑपरेटिव सेक्टर में हम कैसे ऑर्नामेंटल फिशेज को आगे ले जा सकते हैं सर?
कोऑपरेटिव फिशरीज में मैंने ज्यादा फोकस नहीं दिया है, लेकिन सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप्स का तो काफी काम हो रहा है और रत्नागिरी और सिंधुदुर्ग में आपको मालूम होगा कि काफी तौर तक सक्सेसफुल भी है. So self help groups is the best way of getting these things done. Cooperatives का कुछ चक्कर है कि cooperatives are successful when the management is very independent. जब management independent है तब तो cooperative successful हो जाते हैं. जब cooperatives का leadership उतना firm नहीं है, उतना strong नहीं है, तब तो cooperatives का success rate उतना अच्छा नहीं होता.
लेकिन सर डेयरी में जैसे हमारा अमूल एग्जांपल है और या इफको एग्जांपल है एग्रीकल्चर में, हमारा फिशरीज में ऐसा कुछ नहीं हो पा रहा है कोऑपरेटिव से.
डायरी का सब आप बता रहे हैं, डायरी का नहीं, जब तक कुरियन साहब था तब तक तो ठीक था, उसके बाद थोड़ा सा मतलब डिक्लाइन है, मतलब अभी उसका स्ट्रक्चर ही चेंज हो गया है. नाउ the benefits which were going to the dairy farmers, do you think that the same level of benefits is going to the dairy farmers? I doubt. So therefore,
अभी सर मुझे अपडेट आइडिया नहीं है.
आप ठीक है, मतलब आप ट्राई तो कर सकते हैं. It all depends upon your leadership. You may be another person who will be able to drive the ornamental fisheries sector through cooperatives. Fine, no problem. But the thing is, what is working now at the moment, both in Tamil Nadu as well as in Maharashtra, wherever I have worked, personal experience. So these are the two examples. they are working through self-help groups. And those self-help groups are being converted into farmer producer organizations. Once they
Actually,
become a
sir,
farmer producer organization, market producer relationship becomes very shortened, and maximum of the consumer rupee goes to the farmer.
नहीं, मैं सर एनसीडीसी में काम करता हूँ उड़ीसा में एज